Bum, 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 bum. Hey YouTube, it's Dominic again. So this is issue number 8 of my Build the Millennium Falcon series. Like always, it's well, not always, but every issue past the first issue, it's $10.99. So that brings us up to €80 and 43 cents so far I've spent on this lovely project. We see this illustrated photo of the model itself, and let's just go ahead and dive right into the magazine itself. So, table of contents, interesting little picture of C-3PO. I love that guy. You know, he was the comic relief that the series needed. Episode 1 we had Jar Jar Binks, and I mean, he's just unanimously hated. I would love to have anyone who liked Jar Jar Binks explain down below in the comments why. So then we have this Forerunners of the Falcon article where we talk about the YT 1200 and 1210. In previous issues we talked about the 1100, or maybe it was the 1000. Can't remember. Anyway, so it has this, the 1200 and 1210 had this familiar dome-like shape, had the offset cockpit, had some interesting information about it. It's rather slow, only 800 kilometers an hour in atmosphere, class 2 hyperdrive, class 16 backup. So the 1210 had 100-ton stowage capacity. So, you know, you can see this. Let me see if I can zoom in here. So you had this illustration of what the 1250, the 1210 had, and then you have these cool blueprint diagrams showing how it varied in design from the 1300, which came much later. Not a lot there, just a little bit of the Star Wars backstory. And I mean, I don't think we ever see this ship in any of the films itself, but it's, you know, some people who are in the Star Wars mythos, you know, universe will really give a lot of stock to these things. Then we talk about the technical station. So in the original design for the YT 1300, there was originally a sleeping area where this computer was, but subsequent owners of the Millennium Falcon actually changed that out and put this computer in for additional sensor arrays. In the first film, you see Han Solo actually sitting at the computer talking about how he doesn't believe in an all-encompassing force that binds the galaxy together. So that's pretty much it in that regard. Interesting stuff talking about the importance of the sensors and how it's important to feed all this information through the sensor array directly to the droid brains of the ship. Speaking of the droid brains, we have this side article talking about droid interface, where it talks about R2-D2 and how he talked to the computer and got the hyperdrive to work. C-3PO, again, love that guy. Talking about the set dressing of the crew quarter, which is one of the things we'll be working on today. That's why this article is so prevalent. Like always, they talk about how the interior of the ship is mostly made of aircraft pieces that were bought by the pound. That's why they chose aircraft pieces, because they looked very futuristic, and also you bought them by the pound, and traditionally that stuff's very lightweight. It talks about how during the film they changed, on A New Hope they had Londoner Roger Christian pioneer the art of using the recycled technical scrap to give the authentic used look of Han Solo's ship, but he was unavailable in the second film, so a guy by the name of Michael Ford took over. So you have Michael Ford to thank for that wonderful set design for the Millennium Falcon. Then with this article, this is actually kind of interesting. Instead of talking about a specific planet, we talk about regions of the galaxy instead of a specific planet. So here we talk about the deep core, the core worlds, the colonies, and the inner rim and then the outer rim territories. So you see these lines, maybe you can't really see them too well, but these are major hyperspace lanes that exist. These are established, well-mapped routes that people take. It's essentially, from what I understand reading this article, many spacers, many people who spend a lot of time traveling throughout the galaxy, they are aware of certain hyperspace routes that they keep kind of secret. They don't let people know about them because they want to use them for their own nefarious or personal reasons, and they don't want to move on these major trading routes that are well known and well documented. And this explains why certain planets get a lot of traffic and other ones don't, because it becomes increasingly difficult, apparently, to travel to some of these remote territories if there's no established hyperspace route anywhere around them. Interesting stuff. Then we go to this here. We got wild space, the unknown regions, the deep core, the tingle arm, the core worlds, the colonies, the inner rim, the expansion region, the mid rim, and then the outer rim territories. Hut space. Hut space is a very important element to Star Wars galaxy because obviously the Hutts are gangsters, and they, for whatever reason, were able to operate with some amount of autonomy during the Galactic Empire. It talks about all these different rims and what exactly why they're important and what you could find in there. Then we have this interesting. Let me try to zoom in on this. We have this interesting shot from the Empire Strikes Back, where after they rescue Luke and the Millennium Falcon flies out, you can see the Star Wars galaxy itself. We know that it's a galaxy far, far away, even though humans populate it intensely. I guess that, they're making some sort of commentary on what exactly the Star Wars galaxy is made up of, or where human beings came from, more importantly. So I guess they never really are very clear about this, but I guess Princess Leia and Luke and R2-D2 and C-3PO and a lot of the other rebels, they kind of hid out in the Outer Rim territory after the events of the Empire Strikes Back, kind of gathered their strength and then made their final push for the third movie, Return of the Jedi. Okay, and then we finally go back to our instructions on how to actually build our parts we got in this issue. So let's go ahead and get that started. So issue 8, the parts come in this plastic bag. So this has become the norm, and I figure that for the next 92 issues you'll see exactly something like this. So let's go ahead and pop this open and see what we find inside. So with this issue, we have this piece right here, which is the technical station that I was talking about earlier. That's pretty good. Nice level of detail. I like that a lot. I think I'll probably leave that alone. It tells you optionally you could go ahead and paint that, but I think I'm going to leave that alone because I think that's got a nice level of detail as is, and I don't necessarily want to screw with it any more than it already is. Yeah, I think that looks nice, especially when you add the extra details to it. It'll look good. We have some more components that go on there. This is a piece that actually belongs to the hull. Obviously, we'll have one of the rims for the inner rims passageways. That goes right there. And I'm not quite sure what this piece is, but I'm sure when I read the instructions it'll be clear what the heck it is. And this piece right here is actually a sprue that I'll use to decorate the control panel, the instrument panel, and also put together the couch that we got started earlier on. So we'll see what that looks like when we're all done. So my original plan was to not paint this, but these little pieces are such a pain in the backside to try to get in there that you really need a pair of tweezers. They recommend you use tweezers, and I agree with them. And so to kind of hide some of my mistakes, I decided to paint this, just give it a quick weathering effect. I might go back in later and try to make it pop a little bit by putting a little like white in there, but right now I'm going to leave it alone. I also went ahead and painted this piece right here, and I'm going to glue that in, and then we should have the control panel all finished up. So there's the instrument panel all glued together and weathered. Again, like I might go back later and do a little extra here, make the buttons and switches kind of pop a little bit. Right now that's all I'm going to do, just to move along and get to the next step. So this is what I have for the hold so far. Okay, so you see I got the instrument panel here, I got my jack table here, the sofa, and I went ahead, let me try to pull in the focus a little bit, I went ahead and put a little weathering right here, a little detail work to make that kind of stand out a little bit. It's not going to, it's the little things that are going to really make it look good, but that goes right there. And the next, so there you go. I also went ahead and did some inking down here so that these panels kind of pop out a little bit. They were before the same color, and so you can kind of see what it looks like now. Let me try to pull in a zoom. So my mistake lines will be hidden by the couch, so that's what I'm going to start doing next, is taking this piece right here and taking all these pieces out and assembling the couch. Alright, so here's the couch, and here are the cushions that are going to be glued onto the back. I had to line them up in the order that they go in. I've trimmed all the extra flash off them, and so I'll just start gluing those into place individually. I also, why I got your attention here, I went ahead and glued this little piece into place. I'm going to put a little bit more touch up there to hide my mistake, and that'll just make the piece kind of stand out a little bit. So hopefully that'll look really nice when I'm all finished. Alright, so as you can see, this is coming together. The instructions in this issue didn't tell me to put these pieces here, but I obviously figured out that they should go here, so I put them there. I haven't glued them into place, so if I need to remove them later, I can. I haven't glued anything into place actually yet, so here's the instrument panel that I worked on today. The jack table needs to eventually be glued into place. This has got pins in it, but it's not glued into place either, and neither is this thing. So, but you can start seeing how this is all going to look when it's finished. The one thing I was kind of upset about, I don't know if we can see if you can show you, is these cushions. This is steps they say is optional, but it's really going to be very necessary. I have to fill these spaces in with some sort of epoxy resin putty and sand them down and then paint over them, because that's just going to look like crap, I think. This is what I have accomplished so far with up to issue 8. I have this much of the crew compartment done, you just saw that. I have this portion of the hull finished with some of the support structure you've seen, and then the hull over here, the cockpit, as you've seen before plenty of times. And then I have these 3 sprues right here, which I need to do something with in the near future. I'll just hold on to these until I get some instructions on what to do with those. Next issue, very exciting. I'm going to actually be getting the battery pack to light up the Millennium Falcon cockpit. I'll be getting more hole pieces for the walls. I'll be getting the actual passageway entrance here, some light proofing for the cockpit so that I can turn the lights on, so next issue you'll actually get to see a light up cockpit. And for some reason now we're going to start assembling the bottom hole. I don't get that one exactly, but this actually goes to the bottom, not the top. So stay tuned for issue number 9. Guys, please feel free to comment down below. Give me any sort of constructive feedback. Make sure to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already. So like, yeah, we're moving along. We're 2/20ths of the way there. No, not even 2/25ths. Yeah, we're 2/25ths of the way there. So I'm really chugging along, man, and I hope that you really are enjoying these segments. If there's anything that I'm not doing that you would really like me to pay more focus on, please feel free to comment on that down below. The question of the day is going to be, what of the 7 films is your favorite? Or actually just anything in the Star Wars universe, like books, comic books, TV series, TV specials, you know, even the Ewok movies. I really want to know what your favorite stuff is. And so if I'm not aware, if I'm missing something, and tell me why. Tell me why it's your favorite. That would be really great too. Okay guys, thank you, and take care.